Okay, I'm very happy to be here as your last presenter because I saw everyone's faces when she said that. So if she'd said you're second or you're third, then you're... But it's like saying in conclusion for a presentation, right? Everyone's face gets all excited when you say in conclusion. So I will be your in conclusion today. Don't worry, only about 40 minutes, so... that was the amount of time my bus was late from Daejeon today, so no problem at all. I did my homework, and I asked about what happened before I got here. And I was told that a lot of the ideas and the topics that were talked about were mainly for lower level students, and I'm sure they can be scaffolded, but I'm going to talk about things for a little bit higher level students today. So if you deal with very, very low-level students, we're going to have to really put our heads together to think of ways to scaffold it all the way down to them. But you know what? Sometimes in an after-school program or in a hagwon or in a summer camp, we get a group of students that's better than we expected. We get some kids that look at the book and they go, I'm not doing that. And so that's when, it seems like before that happens, we get all excited and we think about, oh man, if I get some freedom with the curriculum, I can do some amazing things. I just wish I had some freedom to do what I wanted to do and just take that book and throw it away and really do my thing. And then we get that opportunity and we go, oh my, how many hours? Oh, that's a lot of hours. To think of my content and my material and my stuff to do with them. So what I'm going to talk about today is some things that the students can stay busy and also stay on task and teach them through English. I'm sure they're going to learn English while they're working with these things, but also help them learn through English how to accomplish some other things that hopefully when they get done, they're going to be impressed, parents will be impressed, maybe the school will be impressed, and everyone comes out happy. Okay, so you can see from the title, we're talking about project-based learning, so a lot of project stuff here, and then of course, online content, using it, and then also producing it. So that's something that I wasn't sure the kids could do, and then my daughter, who's in 6th grade of elementary school, came in one day and said, we did the coolest thing in school today. And I was like, all right. Usually, how was school? Fine. So this was like, we did something cool in school today, so I was very excited to hear about this. This was an unusual day. And she said, we planned a trip to Jeju by ourselves. And I said, yeah. You said, me and my friend are going to go down to Jeju and we're going to have fun. And the teacher said, A+. No, they got online and they looked for airplane reservations. They got on a hotel booking site and they scrolled through the things and looked at the amenities and the costs and the parking and all this stuff. They looked at some restaurants to eat at and what it was going to cost because they had a budget. So they were given a budget by the teacher and they were given an amount of time and the teacher said, okay, let's see what you're going to prioritize. Are you going to prioritize and put a lot of money into the hotel but then eat ramyun every day? My wife. Are you going to say, you know what, I want a really cool sports car, so I'm going to slum it a little bit and stay in a lower level place, but I'm going to have a sports car to zoom around in, and then, I'm going to eat medium, regular, some chigees and some stuff like that? Or are you going to say, no, I'm there for the food, I want all the seafood, and I'll sacrifice for that. So it was a really interesting experiment, and now, of course, she was doing it all in Korean. But I started thinking about what we could do with that kind of thinking with English. And I tried it with some teachers, and I will tell you the pros and cons of doing it with teachers. And then we'll talk about that and some other things we can do along those lines with our students, okay? So we're going to talk about these sort of things. We're going to talk about a foreign country scavenger hunt. We're going to talk about current events website building. And we're going to talk about podcast and video projects. Now, you may be looking at these things and going, no way. There's just no way. My kids can't handle that. Maybe you're thinking, I can't handle that. Because you have to be tech savvy. You really do not. You really don't have to be that tech savvy to be able to use these sort of activities with your students. And you'll find half the time your students will know how to do these things way better than you anyway. So you can just sort of sit back and let them go and be the facilitator, and they will impress you by what they can do. Mainly because they've done a lot of that stuff in Korean anyway, so the learning curve is not that steep. All right, so let's talk about this. If you are lucky enough to go on a trip during some of the breaks, you go overseas, always bring back some coins and a couple of bills. When you do that, you're getting into TPR land, and TPR land is a really fun place for the students. They don't like seeing money in a book. They want to hold it. They want to smell it. They want to hold it up to the light and see the watermark. And so when you have something that they can play with, now keep your eyes on them. But when they have something they can play with and hold, it makes it more real and authentic, and it changes the whole dynamic in the room. I know this for a fact because I tried it with teachers. 30, 40, 50 years old, and they're sitting there, and they're giving me the face, and I got the attitude, and I put some money on each table, and they turn into 12-year-olds. They become teenagers again, like, oh my God, I want that one. Give me that one. Give me that one. They're like, really? It's got a watermark? Where? Oh my God, really? Really? And I'm standing back just watching them going, this is what your students do. And it was just really fun to watch them do that. So what we did is we gave them something like this, a little bit of money. I'm sure you can identify several of the countries up there. You should be able to see Thailand. You should recognize the old king. You should see up in the top, Hong Kong. You can see written on the one on the left, Malaysia there. And in the middle is the one I've got here in my hand with the eagle on it. This is Zambia. Exactly. That is the reaction I was hoping for. You say Hong Kong. Oh, I've been to Hong Kong. You say Thailand. Oh, last summer I was in Thailand. You say Zambia, and people go, oh. Well, Zambia. I don't even know the capital of Zambia. Exactly. And that's kind of the point, right? Whether you're growing up like me in America or you're growing up here, Africa is this mysterious, faraway place. We can point out where Germany is on the map of Europe, and we know Italy, and we know Spain, and we get over to Asia, and we're like, oh, that's Mongolia, I know that, sure. That's one of the stands up there. But when we get the map of Africa, we go, South Africa, stuff. Pretty sure Egypt's up there in the top somewhere, but the rest of it's this big mystery. And you know what? The kids are like that too. So when you have some money from Egypt, and we have some money from Zambia, and we have some things like that, we're really providing a cultural opportunity for them as well. So therefore, right, what we can do is we can have them, the magical words that make kids very happy. Pull out your phone. Wait, what? You're always saying put away your phone, put away your phone, put away your phone. Now you say pull out your phone. Is this a trick? No, pull it out, right? In fact, why don't you pull yours out too? Permission granted. Pull it out. Oh, it's already out. Sorry. Sorry. You've been cacao talking the whole time. My mistake. Because nobody moved, right? You're like, pull it out. It's right here. What are you talking about? I'm not going to put it in my pocket. Go ahead. Let's look it up. What's the capital of Zambia? Let's look it up. Pull it out. I'm timing you. First one wins imaginary bonus points. Say again. Musaka. Mufasa? Osaka. Boo? Who? Can you spell it? Lusaka, Lusaka. All right, if you say so. What's the flag look like? Oh, someone's way ahead of me. Oh, you're Zambian. What colors? So there's a lot of green. I'm seeing a picture of it now. That's a lot of green. I mean, you guys already knew this before you came in today, right? You're not learning anything. Good, okay. So when you found this information, what did you type in? Did you type in Zambia flag, Zambia capital? Did you type in, what is the capital of Zambia? Because that's what my mom would do. My mom is she's like, no, that's not correct. What is? Like she's playing Jeopardy or something. What's the exchange rate? Let's find it to the dollar. To the U.S. dollar, what's the exchange rate in Zambia? If you have a U.S. dollar, what's it worth? Oh, you already know. Okay. What's a dollar worth?
0.076.
That's the dollar, or that's the... Wow. Yes, the kwacha, that's right. It's called the kwacha. So basically, I thought I was doing well with my 100 kwacha here. How much money am I holding in my hand? 100 kwacha. $7.50. No, really? I was being very casual with this, but now I'm going to be very careful with it. What did you type in?
I typed in Zambian exchange rate USD.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty efficient. How do we get there? You don't have to do this because it's going to take a little bit longer. What would you type in, though? I type in Google Flights is what I would type in. Yeah, because I've already learned the capital. That was the first thing I looked at. So I'm going to go to one of my flight websites. I'm probably not going to go straight to Korean Air. I'm going to look more around. So either I use something like an Expedia or something like that, or I'm going to go to Google Flights, and I'm going to put in Incheon, and I'm going to put in Mufasa, something like that, and I'm going to see how many stops it's going to take. I'm going to plan my trip, all right? So I'm doing these things, and I'm doing it in English. Here's the problem. And I'm sure there's someone out there whose phone is set to Korean. Yeah? When your phone's set to Korean and you go to even Google, even if you don't go to your Navers and your Daums and your things like that, even if you go to Google, what language is your Google in? A lot of people and a lot of kids are going to have it in Korean. So what happens, even if you type in your search in English, what kind of results come back? They come back in Korean, right? So there's something we have to plan for and plan to overcome. You need to be aware that in a lot of search engines, because of location settings, even if you type your search criteria in English, you're going to get a lot of Korean back. And so as the teacher, your head's exploding because you're like, I told you to search in English. And they're going, I did, but... Right? So maybe what we need to do is we need to put them in groups. We need to have them brainstorm the kind of things to type in, and then we do it on the class computer and show them, right? Because if we trust their phones to do it the way we want it to be done, you can have a problem. So just please be aware of that. And then, of course, we can start looking into some interesting things that if we did visit there for a week, where would we go, what would we do, what would we see, what would we eat? And so we start doing more searching. And we're planning our trip, but we're planning it in English. Now, there are some sub-tasks we can do from this as well. We can also then say, fine, now someone from Zambia is coming to Korea. Let's plan an itinerary for them while they're here. And there's other cross-cultural ways to do an activity like this. But we've got to think, what can the kids do? What is the technology going to allow us to do? And then we start thinking about what the outcomes are, right? So with the outcomes for this, we need to think about, what do the kids get? The kids get some practice, brainstorming, maybe some web searching in English, fingers crossed. Then they get to dissect and go through the information that they're finding and try to choose the right things. And then they have some sort of output. So then they can actually say, if I went here, I would do this. I would be prepared for this. I know about the flag. I know about the money. I could prepare for the flight. I can even put a budget together and things like that. All about a country they didn't know even existed earlier that morning, like Zambia. Now, we can then parlay that, if we want to, into something with current events. Now, I ran a class like this at the university level, and it was going to be very different than what you'd want to do probably with high school, middle school, or lower level students, because I let the kids have a lot of freedom. So you may not want to do it quite that way. So with current events, you want to put your students in groups. Now, I don't know if you like to put high and medium and lower level inside the class in one group so they work together like that, or if you want to put all your high guys in one thing and all your low guys in there and they need more help and you work closer with them, how you want to do that, but usually they need to be helping each other and working together. So then they're going to select a current event or topic that they feel, when I look for it out there, there's not enough information, okay? So it could be something very current, or it could be something that's just, like the latest phone coming out. So they could talk about the newest Samsung phone, or they can talk about something else. Now, there's going to be a lot of stuff already on the internet, so you want something they can also maybe add their own opinion about, or if they like something more than other, they can highlight that as well. So they're going to collect and organize stuff that's already on the internet, right? So they're going to be doing searches to see what's already out there, and then they're going to sort of put it together in one space. They can add a bunch of links and say, if you want to learn more about this, here are a lot of links, and here are some basic information that you can put out there and for them to look at. Now, again, if you're looking for a free website, I use Weebly for mine. There's one called Wix, W-I-X, that's also free to sign up and make very basic home pages. It's very easy to do, and it's free. So if the kids are using Weebly, I have experience with that, and it's really easy to do. In fact, what you could do is you could have your account and give them basically page names that they can then log in and make their own stuff like that. So I had my guys do links and summaries. You can see infographics. They even made short videos, and we'll get to talk about podcasts a little bit later. They can even do that if they wanted to. So again, they're putting together online content. So why are they doing this? Okay, first of all, group work is very good for them to collaborate, learn how to work together. Sometimes when they get to the high school or university level and they don't have a lot of experience with group work, and it's strange for them and they're uncomfortable because they're so used to competing that when you want them to collaborate, they're looking at each other very mistrustingly, so you want them to be able to trust. So then if you give them leadership roles inside the group, that's also a good experience for them to say, okay, you're in charge of this, you're in charge of that, and give them experience with leadership. It's also good to do a little bit of a reflection after and ask them what went right and what went wrong with what you were trying to do with your leadership. And some people will notice that they were maybe too tough, and then if they have another chance, they'll back off a bit. And others will realize that they were trying to be, too democratic and letting everyone choose and vote, and they never made any decisions. So that's a good experience for them as well. Very important is time management, right? Learning how to meet deadlines, how to say, okay, we need to have this done by this amount of time, as opposed to the excuses and being late. Because it's a project, they're getting a lot of learner independence. They're getting opportunities to have the teacher do something that is very hard for teachers to do, especially newer teachers, but also older teachers. Something is really, really hard for the teacher to do. Shut up. You agree? When the teacher's not talking and someone walks by, what do they think? Well, you're not teaching. You're not teaching if you're not talking, right? So I like to ask this. Now, this is going to tell you how long I've been in Korea, but in the World Cup, 2002, do you remember the coach? Hee-dee. Very famous guy, right? Yeah. Korean, right? Oh, he is now. Officially, technically, right? Honorarily. So really, really famous guy in all the commercials. Everyone knows his face, right? Yeah. How many goals did he score in that World Cup? How many did he kick? I'll give you a hint. How many did he save? Assist? So why is he famous? Why is he so popular? He did nothing. Say again? He was the leader. He is the guy that put the players in the position to be successful. But there was a line that he couldn't cross between where the players were playing and where he was expected to coach from. Now, his voice, of course, crossed the line. But he was not allowed to go and play, right? Sometimes as the teacher, we also have to be the hidik of the room and prepare them and coach them, but then say, okay, I can't do it for you. Get out there and do it. And so learner independence is something that when they get a taste of it, it takes some time for them to get over the fact that you're not all up in their business, but when they get a chance to do something and then they realize that you are there as a resource, I'm here if you need me, right? I did some teacher training recently overseas, and there was the guy we were mentoring to do the teacher training next time, and every time he let the teachers do something, he stood. And I pointed this out. I'm like, dude, you are all, and they're like, right? But he's like, I'm here to help. And I don't think he realized what he looked like, so I took a picture. And I showed, he's like, oh yeah, okay, I'm scary, yeah. So he learned to take a few steps back, so that was good. Right? And so the kids, they need to be able to practice asking for help, right? 질문 없어요. Culturally, for me, it just I don't like the sound of that. We say, do you have any questions? Or even better, what questions do you have? Yes. What questions do you have? I expect questions. But this whole thing requires the teacher to understand the difference between push education and pull education, right? So again, when we're all just push, and the students get no chance to pull, then like this doesn't work. So we need to shut up more. We need to give them opportunities to be in positions where they're probably going to fail, short term. And then, yeah, not the whole semester and be like, I didn't do anything. Not quite that, but yeah, they need to be in a position where they can do stage 1, do stage 2, get stuck on stage 3, and not feel weird to say, okay, I need some help now, right? And when they say, I need some help now, we say, great, okay, let me help. And then we back off again. Hard to do. So again, attention to detail. When you're publishing anything online, right, you're going to have your typos, and you're going to have all sorts of things that, oh, I thought I published that, I didn't? Oh, okay. So attention to detail comes up. And then, of course, here's something that's going to maybe help them for the rest of their lives, which is considering a target market or audience and their needs. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I got the call to come talk with you today, I said, okay, who are they? And I heard the words that I don't really like to hear that much, which is a little bit of everything. Because how do you satisfy an audience when there's a little bit of everything? When there's the young learners teachers here, and then there's the secondary teachers here, and then there's boys who teach adults here, and then there's the low level, and there's the medium level, and the high level, and there's the foreign English teachers and the local English teachers, and everyone's here, and they're going, satisfy me. And you go, I can't. I'm going to try, but that's really hard to do. And so again, if you're making a blog or you're making a YouTube channel and someone says, okay, who are you making this for? And of course, my daughter would say, well, everybody. Everybody's going to like this. And I go, oh, yeah, okay, well, that's a beautiful idea, but it doesn't really work. You need to have some subsets. You need to have some target customers so you can focus your advertising and your content towards them. And when your kids, I'll call them your kids, start doing these things, that's really going to come up a lot. And so you as a teacher need to be prepared to help them focus a little bit, right? So this is just an example rubric or checklist, not a rubric, it's more of a checklist talking about the kinds of things that you could be looking for if you need to assess this. Now, I'm not putting numbers or scores or anything like that. It's more of, let's go back and add some more, or you know what, this is okay. So you can see that the landing page is organized, that the content is published and the links work. Everything is linked back to the landing page. That's something new website builders don't think about. Is you click and you go to this page and then you're stuck. There's no way to get back out. So if you're on your phone, that can be a problem. You need the button that helps you get back to where you were, a home button or a back button or something like that. Clearly labeled submenus, some citations and labeling, efficient use of visuals. Again, if it's all text heavy, how excited are you going to be about that? Not. So you want it to be more visually focused and have some text, but if it's all text, first of all, you know they copy-pasted it anyway. So they didn't produce anything, and then it's just not fun for the reader either. So again, you can see pages are not overly text-heavy, topics are fully covered, whatever that means, and then having a diverse range of sources, because if they just go to one page and they move everything over, they haven't really created anything either. So what you want is them to take a bunch of little things and try to put them together in an organized way. And again, they're doing it all through English, right? So it's more of having the exposure to English. And hopefully they're going to do things and they're going to pull from you and say, what's this word? Or I don't know what this means. I know, I don't know, I know. And that kind of thing is great. Now, if it's I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, then it's going to be a lot harder. But if they've chosen the topic, they probably are going to have some familiarity with the topic in general, whether it's the new Samsung Galaxy S number or something like that, or it's video games or whatever, something that they're interested in. All the web tunes and things like that. My daughter's super into that. So that could be something they're interested in looking into, and as long as they're doing it in English, just nod along. Okay, so podcasting. We are all familiar with podcasting? Generally, basically. Do we know the word? Okay, so it's basically like more or less recorded radio shows. You can think of it like that. So it's a recorded radio show, not something that's necessarily going to be broadcast live. It's going to be recorded and then put on the internet for people to listen to anytime, any place. Okay? So I've done a few podcasts, I've created a couple. It's work. It's hard. And one of the hardest things, and this is something that if you did something like this with your students, they need to keep in mind, is that it's not a one-time thing. You want to think of something you can create that could continue, right? So if your whole podcast is about your mom's restaurant, that's nice. So you're going to talk one day about your mom's restaurant, and then episode 2, we're back at mom's restaurant again. It's the same menu. Yum, right? So if you do the best places to eat in Gangnam, right? Now suddenly every episode is a new restaurant. You've got some variety, but there's an umbrella. There's a theme. So that kind of thinking is something the kids need to understand, right? So if it's my favorite webtoon, and every week they're talking about the new webtoon that came out, and they want to discuss it and dissect it and talk about why it was so funny that week, okay, right? So they've got to think about something that can continue. So again, with podcasting, this is all they need, right? Back in the old days, you need the actual big cassette player. Nope, technology. Audacity is a free downloadable editing software. It's pretty powerful, actually, but it also can be very simple. So that, or I'll talk about Windows Movie Maker in a bit, and I'm sure your kids know 15, 20 more, so there's a lot of options for them. Here you want to let the students work in pairs or groups of 3. Here's why. Depends on the format of their podcast, right? So if the podcast is, I'm the host and you're my guest, and I interview every time and say, so where did you eat this week? We can do it that way. We can do host and co-host, where it's banter, ho, 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 ho. And if they do it with 3, then it can be host, co-host, and guest, or it could be host and 2 guests, and they go back and forth and do things like that. So 2 to 3 is probably the best number of students for that. And again, you want to coach them to have a theme, but you want to let them choose the theme. And you know what? If it bombs, they learn. That's what I tell my teachers when we try something. I go, look, you're either going to do this really well or you're going to learn something. Either way, let's look at the positive. Now, here's the thing. You want to assign a minimum and maximum episode time, right? You want to say, okay, let's try to do it for 2 to 3 minutes. I want an episode to be, depending on their level, could be 4 to 6 minutes, something like that. Now, here's the thing. If you've got a big group of students, and there's 2 to 3 in a group, and now you've got 14 podcasts to listen to. You feel me? Yeah? And each one is 10 minutes. Yeah, good, I saw your faces. Yeah, that's right. So again, shorter, this is practice. This is not to make money off of, so it's not that big of a deal. So keep them short, it's fine. And then I like them to do 2 or at least maybe 3 episodes to show that they can continue, to show me, but to also show them that, yes, this is something that you could keep up if you wanted to. Because you know what? There are kids, I'm sure you know this, there are kids out there with their own YouTube channels. There are kids out there with their own podcast, and there are kids who are actually making money out there because they've got a little niche and they unbox toys or they talk about video games or whatnot, and they've got tons of people watching. So the idea should not be alien to them. They should be like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. In fact, they may go, why only audio? So again, then if you wanted to, now here, we run into a lot of issues with privacy and parents and schools and stuff like this, but in my case, I was able to actually ask them to upload to a website such as SoundCloud, which is like YouTube for audio, and actually track clicks to see if anyone was searching for some of the keywords they put in there to promote their podcast and see who listened. And we got some really weird results. Like things that I thought were boring and stupid, I never told them that, of course, but I thought were boring and stupid, got a ton of clicks, and things I was like, oh, that's going to kill, did not. And I think the reason was competition. That something that I thought was going to be popular probably was popular, but it was popular on YouTube or other searches, but the thing that I thought was going to be stupid was so niche that people, when they searched for it, actually went to their podcast and found it. So you never know. So why, again, were a lot of the things that we saw in the last section, teamwork, leadership, time management, experience working with the tech is something we can be giving them the ability and time to select their own topics and content. Now, whether they're doing a presentation or they're writing an essay or they're creating a YouTube channel or they're making a podcast, the brainstorming process for this is basically going to be the same. As long as they're asking themselves 2 questions. The first question is, why me? I mean, that's an important question, right? If someone's going to write an essay or do a 6-minute presentation on Italy, and you go, oh, because your family went to Italy last summer, and they go, no. You ever been to Italy? No. Where's your information coming from? Wikipedia. Dude, I can do that presentation, so that's not a good topic. You want to choose something that you have some special experience with that other people don't have. And the second question, can you guess? It's basically why you to the audience, which can also be framed as, who cares? Right? See, when you have a Korean presenter and Korean audience, and the topic is, Seoul is the capital of Korea, and I've seen it happen. Let me tell you about some great things to do in Seoul, Seoul people. And they go, do you know Namsan Tower? And you look at the faces and they're going, are you joking? Right? It's not good. So again, back to the experience, identifying a target audience based on that topic, making advertising and promotion plans, including tags and keywords, and then having an opportunity, here's the key, to listen to themselves, right? You guys ever had your classes video recorded? You ever had someone videotape you teaching? You ever been tied down, forced to watch it? It's brutal. But it's also going to be the most useful thing you've ever done for your teaching. Whether you're presenting, whether you're teaching, to see yourself on video, it hurts, but man, it's true. It's not the same as someone telling you that you voice your pauses, or you blink too much, or you click, or you have a nervous hand thing. They can tell you all day, but until you watch that video, then you're going to be like, oh my God, I do that. So again, here's a checklist. You can see per episode there are certain things you can look at, and it's in your booklets. And then overall, there's some things you can look at too. So there's a lot of different ideas. I would encourage you to negotiate and make your own checklist with your students, depending on their level and interest. All right, if we're going to get out of here on time, let's go to our video projects. Same sort of thing, we can record with our cell phones. We don't need to go to the resource room and check out the huge Sony cam anymore. That used to be what we had to do, not anymore. Windows Movie Maker, free editing software. Again, the students can work in pairs or groups of 3. Someone's got to take the video, so you can't. It's hard to work by yourself. But there are ways to do that, and I'll talk about that in a second. So the teacher, again, should assign a theme. It could be something as simple as a day in my life, where they literally just take photos, put them in PowerPoint, do a voiceover, and publish it as a movie, where each picture stays there for 8 seconds or 6 seconds or 10 seconds. It can be that simple. It doesn't have to be live action to be a video. It could be reteach something that we learned in class, right? What I would do in Zambia. Great topic. I want to see 27 videos on YouTube next week about what I'm going to do in Zambia. Again, minimum, maximum video length is a good idea to show them. I want it to be tight, learn how to fit it inside a certain amount of time. And then again, if you wanted them to put it on YouTube, you're going to run into some privacy things maybe, but that could be something they consider doing, putting on YouTube and seeing how many people check it out. So again, why? Again, we're back to the leadership and teamwork, the time management, experience working with this. And again, they're doing it in an English medium environment. So that's why they're doing it with you. You know, as English teachers, a lot of things get dumped on us, right? Whether it's teaching them how to make a presentation, teaching them how to do a job interview, teaching them how to write a 5-paragraph essay, it gets dumped on the English teacher. So why not tech? Students select their own subtopics, again, the target audience, and then making advertising and promotion ways to include tags and keywords. It seems obvious, but it's really hard to choose 5 or 6 terms that are going to attract people, that are not too general and not too specific, that are going to help people find our websites and our videos. You think it's easy, but it's harder than you think, right? And then again, watching, sharing, getting feedback from their classmates and friends can be a really great experience for them as well. Okay, so here's the checklist. You can see target audiences, appropriate language, a lot of things, and then if we wanted to at the bottom, having goals for the number of YouTube hits. All right, so to wrap up, I'm just going to say 159, no big deal. These are talking about activities to get students online to learn through English. Now, I know that may be a hard sell for some of your administrators, but you know, you've got textbooks, you've got curriculums. Here's an opportunity to then, when you have the power in your hands, to let them go ahead and do some things that are fun during summer camps and after-school things. Just consider some of these things, try them out, and let me know how they work. Okay, I'd love to hear about it. Thank you very much.